In order to find a mission recon plane in Antarctica, Colonel Barnes sent Barton and Batayev for a search and rescue mission. During the mission, they meet up with Major Ling. The three of them move further on to find this plane. However, Major Ling is being very hesitant and paranoid on the situation, and at one moment he finds it too risky to move further. However, Batayev, listening to his gut feeling, ignores orders and carries on, forcing Barton and Ling to reluctantly follow him to check on his safety. Ling remarks that Batayev is not responsible for a successful recon mission. However, this fueled Batayev insight that there's more going on since Colonel Barnes ordered them for a search and rescue operation, not a recon mission. Eventually, connection with Batayev was broken. Barton and Ling now going further into risky territory, where they suddenly find a U-boat of the Kriegsmarine. Ling remarks that during the war, the Kriegsmarine didn't let anyone near this part of Antarctica, and that this coast was still dangerous. On which Martin worryingly remarks that the war is over. Major Ling repeats that phrase, but seems not fully convinced of himself, telling that the war is over. Then Batayev suddenly reconnects to the radio communication and gives coordinate instructions. However, Ling quickly warns him to turn off the subway radio after hearing a specific interference. They quickly get to the coordinates given by Batayev, where they also find the recon plane. Batayev states that by the impact crater the plane was destroyed on ground. Barton requests an explanation of Ling, who wants to tell him later because he wants to urgently leave. Right on cue, an unidentifiable flying object appears visible with only a bright red light. A battle commences between the tanks and the UFO. Batayev almost taken out with one shot by the UFO. Then he counters the flying object by firing his harpoon at the saucer. With a direct hit, the saucer emits a high-powered electrical voltage down the cable of the harpoon, electrocuting Batayev and his tank. After that, the UFO leaves the scene. Luckily, Batayev survived the voltage, and when he regained composure, they continue even further until suddenly the ice breaks underneath them. The team fall down a German uranium mine with barrels marked with fire hazard warning signs, but also crates marked with the Spanish words Shadow Sol 1937 and Danger, risk of something called inhalation, indicating some collaboration with a South American country, presumably Argentina, where a lot of Nazis fled after the war. After the discovery, they find the exit and leave the mine. But on the way out, someone is tracking the commanders with a binocular. We are introduced to an ominous figure in the mist. On closer inspection, this is actually the WoT, the German super mega tank armed with a Bismarck-class battleship cannon turret. After that crude intro, we skip to watch Jean-Marc Lemartin and Katarzyna Chodkiewicz, who are exploring an abandoned mine. In there, they find a 35-meter gap indicating a space for a tank. However, Katarzyna remarks that nobody builds those kinds of tanks, where Jean-Marc quickly responded that the Germans did, and that he saw what it did with its own eyes. Maybe he saw that during the war? After nothing else is found, they leave the mine to rejoin with Raul Rodriguez outside of the Mont Desert in Argentina. We get to know that these events are 6 days after the Operation Needle from the previous season. Maybe the inscription on those boxes in the hidden mine in Antarctica led towards this operation. since Spanish text might indicate a close collaboration between the base of the Germans and Argentina. That, well, we talked about that already. After a weird remark of Jean-Marc claiming to have seen Raoul in Europe, they embark towards the next objective, away from an area known as Ojo del Diablo. Then further up the road, after some heat indulging, they received an SOS message from another platoon, the 6th platoon with Fuller, Gecko and McCraw. Once they arrive at the scene, the tanks of Gecko and McCraw are already destroyed, while Fuller is missing. Then, after analyzing the surroundings for a bit, in search of the cause, Katarzyna suddenly hears something which sounds like a German word, Laus or Lauf, and encounters a whole squad of Panther tanks on top of the hill. Shortly after, also Jean-Marc gets a visionary image of the WoT on the other side of the area. And that cliffhanger forms the end of part 1. Part 2 continues the frightful scene against the Panthers and the WoT. However, when Raoul spotted multiple rockets being launched, he activated his filters in order to counter the smoke emitted by those rockets. But by doing that, he realized that they are illusions, as clean air gets filtered into his tank. With this revelation, he commanded Jean-Marc and Katarzyna to do the same. Luckily, they both snap out of their illusion for just a moment and listen to Raoul to turn on their filters against the intoxicating fumes that are inhaling. After having worn off the strong hallucinogenic fumes, they continue to find the T-110E4 of Fuller. Then Raoul realized that landmines are placed around the area since no enemy threat was near and Fuller was alone in the field. With the announcement of mines, Jean-Marc suddenly remembers that Raoul is in fact Douglas MacCreed, an infamous tanker from the war. Katarzyna knows that with the presence of landmines, they are close to an important target location. With a hill that is not marked on the map, the platoon follows up the path under the lead of Douglas, who clears the way with his minesweeper. After a short while, Katarzyna's tank sensor picks up radiation from a bunker where they see an unidentifiable plane that is currently taking off. A risky attempt was made to stop the plane without shooting it down. However, they were too late to stop the plane from taking flight. Douglas informs the plane with the radioactive cargo towards the colonel, who immediately sends out interceptors to catch it. Right as the dust settles and the platoon drives up to investigate, the hangar building itself explodes, leaving them once again in the dust as the plane leaves. Somewhere else in an office, a call is made that the cargo is on its way. On the desk of the office laying documents regarding Max von Hoffman, or as we now know for a while, is actually Max von Krieger. Now the story got contained in the general overview video of the Battlepass of the season within the first 4 minutes. It only featured a meeting between the colonel and the 3 new tank commanders, Christophe Lemartin, Louise Hamilton and Andrei Pokrovsky. Within the meeting, the commanders get briefed about events of the previous 2 seasons of the year. During the debrief, it has been told that the events leading to Operation Needle were due to suspicious activity of the enemy's submarine fleet in the South Atlantic region that was discovered during general investigations. The eventual discovery of Operation Needle was described as an enemy underground uranium mining facility with equipment belonging to the Sierra de la Sombra company, which evidently was a company presumably of Argentinian origin that went bankrupt and was closed. However, other mine sites were located in the southern deserts of Argentina, which led to Operation Phantom. From the results of that operation, the unknown plane was analyzed and concluded to be a resemblance of an intercontinental Horter bomber. Due to its speed, it escaped the previous intercept attempt and flew towards another region in Antarctica, Ellsworth Land, that had presumably a natural occurring permanent fog. However, with the recent intel, it could very well be set up by the enemy in order to be hidden from aerial footage. When ground platoons were sent to the area, they were met with substantial forces in the region and only one survivor returned. For now, intel is needed before a full-scale operation could be launched. This job is assigned to the commanders to infiltrate the enemy facility and capture a prisoner. From the accounts of the survivor, they were attacked by German tanks of an unknown modification featuring strange camouflage. In order to improve the success chance of the operation, the vehicles of the commanders were concealed with a similar type of camouflage that was observed. Additionally, from the experience of Captain Badayev from Operation Needle, the air defense system of the vehicles were significantly improved in order to counter a potential return of the unknown flying object. As a final note, the colonel remarks that they still don't know why the enemy needs this radioactive material or what they're going to do with it. However, time is of the essence.